It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thank you so much for tuning in today on your favorite podcast app, right? Or whichever one just put our show up there and you're like, well, sounds interesting, I should listen to it. Well, are you going to be disappointed? No, we got 30 minutes of time wasting fun. And when I say 30 minutes, I mean anywhere between 45 and an hour. We don't really hold that strict timeline anymore because sometimes I feel like being chatty. And so, you know what? I'll keep talking. And on the show today, we're going to be talking about finances, money. Now, I mean, it's a subject that I think a lot of people hate these days because they don't have enough money, right? They can't afford to get by. They can't afford to do things. And so I've talked about on the show many times before that I wrote a best-selling book called The Official Guide to Being a Winnipeg Cheapskate. And so one of the things that I would say when I was doing interviews about the book was that I'm not a financial expert, and I've never claimed to be. I'm not a Susie Orman. I'm not, she's the only money expert I can think of right now. Because I enjoy her. She was on the radio with me a bunch of times, actually, back in the day. And so she was always, and it's funny too, because I remember I watched her on my little tiny, those 13-inch TVs and the big fat TVs, like the ones that, you have to like knock out a wall to put on do you know what I'm talking about? Like the big, not a flat screen, but like back in the day, we're talking 30 years ago. What is it? A tube? A TV with a tube is what they're saying to me. Anyway, so I was a kid. I wasn't even, old enough to have a credit card or anything, but I remember watching Susie Orman. And I do remember this. And so I remember her saying, people first, then money, then things. That still sticks with me 30 some years later. I remember it perfectly because my brothers shared a room downstairs in our house, and then I had my own room upstairs. And for some reason, I placed myself in that room upstairs, which means that my brothers were still living at home, meaning that they weren't married. So, I was definitely, maybe I was early teenager at the time, but it was still pretty young. But that stuck with me. People first, then money, then things. One of the other lines, just to get off track here for a second, was, if Canadians will remember the commercial or the show Body Break, Hal Johnson and Joanne McLeod, okay? Canadians of a certain age will know them. And so back when I first started to do interviews with celebrities, I mean, Canadian celebrity status is a little bit different than American celebrity status. But one thing that Hal Johnson said to me was, you rest, you rust. Now, this was a fitness couple, so they were the ones that were telling you always to, to get active and different things you could do. They had their own line of actually workout equipment, if I'm not mistaken. I think you can get a Body Break treadmill at some point. And so, yeah, you rest, you rust. And I thought, that also stuck with me. Like, do you have anything like that from when you were a kid that maybe you didn't think about it at the time that made an impact on you, but it's something that you remembered? And I'm not talking like a restaurant slogan. I'm not talking about anything like that. Obviously, people first, then money, then things is a very good mantra to have. And then same thing with fitness or being active. You rest, you rest. Keep your body active. Keep it going. Keep it moving. And that's something that, also, it helps that I've got I was just about to say, hold on a second. Wait. Was that my husband that walked by? I was just about to say that's so easy because I've got a fitness model husband who's all... Okay, hold on a second now. And again, we do this show in real time like it's a live radio broadcast, so we're not going to take this out. What is it? Say that again? I forgot the dog leashes at home, and so he brought... Oh, well, that's a good dog dad. Very considerate of him, because he's not considerate of the dog. So I'm wondering now what he... Should we bring him in here and have a talk with him? What did he do wrong? Something is up. So people first, then money, then things. That is not the way my husband operates when it comes to, he's food, then me, then dogs. He is not... Dogs are not up there on his list. We should do... Oh, he just waved by. All right. Well, All right, we're going to talk about that later. All right, so how weird is that? Hey, have you ever had a situation like that where you're about to, you're thinking about somebody and then all of a sudden they text you, or you just were thinking about somebody and all of a sudden you run into them the next day. Meanwhile, you never would have, you never would normally. That happens quite a bit to me. One of the other things that what happens to me is I'll be reading something. So let's say I'm reading whatever, and I'm reading the word Canada, and then I'm listening to something. It's on the TV, or there's somebody around me, and then all of a sudden I hear the word Canada right as I'm reading the word Canada. Do you know what I mean? Isn't that kind of crazy? Or just any kind of a word, any word. Like, let's even just say delicious or fantastic or winter, just something. You're reading it. Or you just read it like a sentence ago, and then there's a commercial or there's something on TV or there's whatever, and of all the words that are out there, right? And winter. Okay, how often do you use the word winter when it's not winter, right? And so like stuff like that just jumps out at me. So that happens all the time. All right. Anyway, let's talk about finances on the Scribble, starting right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
That's true. Okay. They were just saying, and you wonder why the show is never 30 minutes anymore. Because I go on my rants. But it's interesting things, and that's just what happens in life, right? You say something and then it makes you think of something else, or something happens and then it makes you think of something, and if you happen to be sitting in front of a microphone and hosting a show at the time, well, you know what? And I think this is one of the things. Let me just go back to that you rest thing. I'm 44 years old. I don't hide my age at all, and it's something that you really can't stop. So, you might as well embrace it. No matter what you do to your face, to your arms, to your whatever, you're still the age, right? Like, there's nothing that's going to change that. And so I was saying actually to, who was I saying it to? Lisa, I think, my husband's assistant. We were out for lunch, and I said to Lisa, and she's 1 year older than me, I think. So she's 40, or is she 46? Anyway, so we're almost the same age. And so the funny thing is that her and her husband do not have kids, and I don't have kids. I've said before, I can't stand them. So we were laughing about this because I don't want to give out too much. She has an associate, I'll use that word. She's got a relative, whatever. What are the odds that that person's listening? She has a relative who just had a baby. And so everything about the person's life is about the baby. And it should be. And it should be, right? That's not the point of the story. But now, months later, this person, the mom, is complaining to Lisa just about being a parent and how it's so time consuming and energy draining and just emotionally taxing and, just everything. And so that was the discussion that we were having, which is, I kind of wonder, is parenting all that it's cracked up to be? Because you see that, during back to school season, and you have that commercial, it's Staples, I think, the most wonderful time of the year, right? And then the parents are on the cart and they're like gleefully going down the aisles of the store. And then you see all the memes, right? There was one that I actually just saw of the mom on a floating thing in the pool with a cocktail or something, and then the kids all standing behind her with their school bags looking, depressed. And so she's happy, and I'm sitting there going, but if being a parent is so wonderful, why are you excited? It should be sad that you're getting rid of the kids and they're going back to school, right? I mean, that's just I would think. That'd be like me going and saying, oh, phew, taking the dogs to the dog sitter for the day, and I got the day free. Well, then don't have dogs if you don't want to be around them all. That's part of the gig when for the kids, that's 18 years that you're legally, So we had this discussion where, people want to be parents, right? They want to breed. They want to, have offspring and carry on their name or whatever. But as I said, it takes its toll on you emotionally, physically, whatever. And so she said that the associate is really looking, kind of like tired and, bags under the eyes. And so I said, this is why I'm youthful. We keep fun energy here. I'm the youngest of our team, right? Yeah, I'm the youngest. I'm at 44. I'm the youngest on our team here. And that's what it is we do fun things. We do silly things. And then Lisa actually said, she made a comment about my brothers who are both older than me, but they're both parents. She said, yeah, your brothers don't have that sense of humor, that playfulness, that whatever anymore. She actually said they've been like my dad is a miserable old curmudgeon that is just, negative and just whatever. And I said, yeah, I'm the one who always sends, funny text messages to people randomly just to kind of, make them laugh. And even when we go out and do things like when Lisa and I, that day, actually, when we went for lunch, we actually did have a really funny time because I stole a glass from the restaurant. It was kind of funny. It wasn't on purpose, though. It was, so it was a lounge that we were in, and they had, there were slot machines, there was pool table. It was a very big place that you can end up walking around. And so I was just carrying my glass with me. I wasn't even really thinking because I had... it was winter, so I had a scarf, I had a couple of things. So I didn't realize that I was holding the gloves in my hand, but I was also holding the glass from our lunch. And so when we left, we walked out, and again, it's one of those things that if you're holding the glass and you're sipping with your through the straw or whatever, you're not really paying attention. It's kind of like you're just doing it because you're holding something. And so as we were literally leaving the building, we were in, it was a hotel, sort of a complex. And so we had to actually walk down a hallway through the lobby and out the door. And here I am carrying the glass from the lounge. And so we get to the car, and when I sat down, I went to go and put the cup in the cup holder, and she starts laughing, and she's like, you took the actual glass from the restaurant. And I said, oh my God, I totally did. I didn't even realize it. So she said, oh God, we're going to floor it out of here now. Let me ask you, listeners, before we actually get onto the topic of finances, this is how you save money. You steal things from restaurants. Would you have gone back? Would you have returned the glass? That's my question for you. So we discussed this before we left the parking lot. She's like, well, you could just take it to the front desk of the hotel and then kind of explain it and say, it's going to be weird for them, but, they'd be grateful and be like, oh, well, you know what, we appreciate you, or just go and say, it's one glass. They probably break how many of these a day, no biggie. So yes, I did. I did steal glass from the restaurant. But what I'm saying is, we have a laugh about it, right? I mean, that's something a 17-year-old would do on purpose, right? Oh, I'm going to steal the cutlery from a restaurant, which I think I probably did when I was a kid. But, right, to be that age, we just have a lot, we're pissing ourselves in the car laughing for a good, 2-3 minutes. I mean, why not? So let's talk finances after the break. They're wrapping me up already. And that's the beauty of this show. We're halfway through the episode and I haven't even talked about what we're talking about today, but I will when we come right back.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
JB here on the Scribble. How was that for a tease? Hey, we're going to talk about finances 15 minutes into the show, everybody. Well, I mean, Seacrest started that whole thing on American Idol, right? We'll find out after the break. So I have talked about that book, The Official Guide to Being a Winnipeg Cheapskate, and I think that some people, when I was doing book signings when the book first came out, people really misunderstood it. I actually had some people come up to me at book signings and confront me. I did have a guy tell me at Walmart or one of the bookstores that, you're what's wrong with the economy. And I said, I didn't get confrontational. And again, this was before the days of people coming in your face with their phones and recording you and, telling you off. It was about 12 years ago now, I guess, 13 years. But when somebody said that, I said, well, did you read the book? Do you know what it's about? Well, it's about not spending. I said, no, actually, it's not. It's not about that at all. Well, I mean, that's what you have money for, is to spend it. I said, yes, I know. And actually, the book is actually telling you how to creatively save so that you have more money to spend. That's actually what it's talking about. Did you want to get a copy, or did you want to maybe take a look at it? And it's funny because, the person just gets shut down right there, right? If you get combative, right? Why do you say that? What do you think that? Oh, do you? No, but that's where did you see the interviews? Like, have you read did you read the back of it? Have you checked out anything? Or you just saw the word cheapskate and you thought, that was enough to send you over the edge? And so I've said that, as I mentioned during the interviews, that I'm not a financial expert, but one of the things that I said to myself, this was still when I was living in my parents' house. And as you know, I've been a professional writer since I was my early 20s. I majored in journalism. I, was a newspaper columnist for 20 years. I've been in broadcasting for 20. When I first got my newspaper column, and the newspaper was going to be paying me $15 per article. Now, you have to realize that this was just opinion, right? So this was me spouting off in 300 words, which really isn't a lot, my opinion on something that either, maybe happened in the news that week, or was just on my mind, or was a hot button issue that people are talking about. And it was, $15. And so I just kind of realized, like, wow, somebody's going to pay me for having an opinion. That's really cool. And then I ended up writing a bunch of these things and then sending them to newspapers across Canada. And I remember that first time when I got the check, it was $60 because it was for the month, right? There were four, it was a weekly newspaper. So that was, 4 columns at $15 each. And I was just, I don't want to say that word amazed, because I mean, that's not a lot of money, but my point is, and I had a job, making really good money. It's not like I'd never worked before. I've worked since I was 13. But what I'm saying is, for me to just kind of hammer out something from my opinion, or, as an opinion, and then to send it out, and people are going to give me money, right? And any other time I had a job, I went and I worked retail, right? Or I worked in a restaurant. So you're doing that kind of a thing, and you're having to work for hours. You certainly weren't making $15 an hour in retail or anything like that back then. And so I remember thinking to myself, I always want to feel like $50 is a lot of money. 50. I always want to feel like $50. I always want that to be a lot of money to me. And if, we all have that, I'm going to be rich and successful. And, we all, people have that dream, and that's fine. And I wasn't quite at that point yet. I ended up, yes, eventually making a lot of money. But that's something that's what that's how I have viewed life for the past, 20, 25 years, I guess. That's a person who, owns 2 houses, who, was able to retire at the age of 39 because I made a shit ton of money hosting those syndicated radio shows that I created. But that's where my team, the coffee guys in California at Buff Boy Brewing Company, West Hollywood, buffboybrewing.com, they always laugh because they say, like, you have all the money in the world, but yet you will, at the grocery store, find the one brown lettuce and ask them to mark it down 50%, and you'll buy that one. And they laugh because they say, like, seriously, your house is worth what million in West Hollywood? And that's what you do. And I said, yes, because I don't want to be like my husband. My husband makes very good money as a fitness model. I manage his career, so he can thank me for his income. He's the spender. He's the one who absolutely will, buy high-end, expensive shoes and sunglasses or whatever. That's fine. That's his money. He can do whatever he wants with it. And I'm the exact opposite, where it's like, if it's buy one, get one free subs at Subway, that's when we're going. Could I pay $17 for a chicken sub at Subway? I could, but I don't, because I don't want to reward the companies that are overcharging. And that's a whole other, which we've talked about on how many episodes in the recent months. But that's my first thing. So it's not necessarily financial advice, but that was speaking of mantras, I mentioned at the top of the show, is that I always want to view $50 as a lot of money. So yeah, I can look at my bank account and see that it's 6 figures or whatever it is, but that's not the point. The point is I'm appreciative of, the money that I have. I hate using that term, I'm blessed, I'm lucky, whatever. No, because I worked my ass off to have that success and that money. So I don't view it as, am I humbled by it? Of course I am. And I'm not the person, and I've said this too. You can go onto my Facebook and my Instagram, whatever. You are not seeing big, flashy tours of my house and, our glam bathroom and our backyard pool and all that other stuff. I've never done that. Ever, 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 ever. So even when I was making that shit ton of money on the radio in 2010 and 11, I guess, were kind of the peaks of the show. You did not see me all of a sudden dressing fancier. I've always, and they laugh at me too. I'm a Walmart clearance kind of a guy. I might like the shirt, but it's $45. Not buying it. That's just, I'm just like that. So that's maybe my financial advice is no matter how much money you get, always look at it as that, this could be my last $50, right? This could be, and that is absolutely, truly how I live my life. Now, will I go to the casino and blow? Well, this is the funny thing. The most I will blow at the casino is about $80. Sure, that's a lot of money too. But again, when I go with perhaps Lisa, the assistant, we play bingo. It's a social thing. We're laughing. We're having a good time. We're actually probably not even paying attention to what we're playing. And it's a fun night. Now, let me just think. When was the last time that I went to the casino? It's probably been, I don't even know. I don't know that I've even gone this year, come to think of it. I don't think that I've even gone. So it's not a habit. It's not an addiction. It's just one of those things of like, let's go play bingo, or let's go, do the slots. So, there's no real kind of, frivolous spending. Oh, another thing too, I enjoy Bath and Body Works candles, hate their prices. Can I afford it? Yes, I can. But at the same time, I'm that customer who's going to go, I'll see that they've got a sale. They've lowered them from $27 to $14 or $12 for the candles, still overpriced. I will have the cart ready, and it says that it's $75, okay? And then with tax, obviously that adds, and then shipping, now you're at $100. I am that person who will go and adjust the cart and go, wait a second, no, is there free shipping? Okay, there's no free shipping. All right, well, I'll put that one back. I'll put that. And then, after 20 minutes of humming and hawing, I will absolutely go and, you know what, I'm just going to close the window. I'll go to the dollar store tomorrow, get the same kind of a smelly one. There's a peach Bellini one for $4. That's the one that I'll get. So I will spend all that time on the website, getting my hopes up, right? I'm going to be a good show. I'm going to just spend. I'm going to get all these. And then I take that step back and go, you know what? I don't necessarily need their mimosa one. I can get the peach Bellini one, or I can get a cranberry one at the dollar store. So take those moments before you go and hit that buy now or the, complete order button. That's something that, is there a cheaper alternative? Now, this could be a little rich coming from me who owns 2 e-commerce stores, right? And, wait a second, there's other stuff that's cheaper. But again, if it's something that you really want, then fine. But I'm saying don't make a habit out of it. How many times have you done that? You've gone onto Amazon and you've either, one of two situations. You've bought something and then regretted it, right, when it came, and you're just kind of like, ugh. And then you've kept it because maybe it was too much of a hassle to return it. Or you were looking at something, you've gone and looked at it 4 times, 5 times, you've got it in your cart, you're ready to buy it, and then you just don't. And you know what? It's fine that you didn't. You didn't need it after all, and that's okay. Now, one of the other things that I like to do is I get creative, as I said in the book, with ways to save and spend. And so I'm going to give you some of these tips for free, believe it or not. And don't think that I did not hear that from how many people who would walk by the book sign and go, oh, so Winnipeg Cheapskate, so I can have the book free? I said, here's the thing. It's in the public libraries. You can go read it there for free. And I would, depending on their attitude, I would go and say, that's up to you if you want to walk out of here without paying. I don't run the store, but feel free. Let's see what security does. Because I'm funny like that, and maybe an asshole. So some cheapskate, some freebie tips coming up on the show right after this.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
JB here on the Scribble. All right, grab your pen and paper. Do you have a pen and paper beside you? Let me actually ask you that. Or do you make notes on your phone? I said this the other week on the show. I have the notes for the show. My notes are written on a Post-it note when I come in here. There's a pad of Post-its in front of me, and I'll jot down. I had 3 filler topics in case I ran short. Believe it or not, I actually thought the show was going to run short. So I've got 3 filler topics that we're clearly not going to need because are we already over time? We're getting there. We're about over time. We are overtime. We are overtime? All right, well, there you go. So you knew it was bound to happen, which, hey, I set you up with that at the top of the show, saying it's not 30 minutes of time wasting fun anymore. All right, so make a note, whether it's on paper or on your phone as you're listening to this. Some cheapskate tips for you that you don't need to get from the book. That is called The Official Guide to Being Winnipeg Cheapskate or The Official Guide to Being American Cheapskate. There's a couple of different versions of the book out there. And by the way, these actually, I don't even know that these are in the book because I think, the book was written before the days of food delivery apps. But here is a really, really easy way for you to save on delivery apps. First of all, don't pay for the monthly subscription, okay? Wait for them to offer it free. Uber Eats is notorious for this. They will offer me the 3 months free of the Uber... what is it called? Their monthly subscription. The Uber One, Uber Pass, whatever. Okay. And it's like $10 a month. No, don't do that. They will offer it for free. Then when that, and by the way, they've actually done 6 months for me before. They've done 6 months, 3 months, and 1 month. After the 3 months is up, I'm on that right now. You cancel it. Wait 1 month, almost without fail, at least for me, 1 month to the day. They will offer it to you again. So during that month off, you've got all the other apps. Or try this. Cook your own fucking food. So that's one thing. I don't pay for a membership service like that at all. I won't pay for a Costco membership. I won't pay for the privilege of being the customer. Not doing it. Now, are there still fees attached to it? Of course there are. But I'm not paying you to use the service, meaning having a subscription for it. The thing is that when I order with Uber Eats, I'm going to wait until you're offering me 40 or 50% off my order so that the fees will be taken care of in that, right? So I'm not paying full price for the menu items and then I'm not paying full price. It'll balance out, right, in the end. Same thing if we're in Canada, there's Skip the Dishes. I don't actually know if it's in the United States here. But Skip the Dishes won't use it because, by the way, initially they touted themselves as being, the one that wasn't charging fees, and then all of a sudden they're starting to do it. So I won't do that, won't subscribe. Well, they did the free month of their membership thing. They don't offer it again after that. At least they haven't for me. But if you don't order for a while, hey, here's $5 off your next order. Don't use that. Because you know what happens? A week or two later, here's $8 off your next order. And don't do that. Don't do it. Wait. Here's $15 off your next order. So it's a waiting game, right? They all have these algorithms. They all have these triggers in their setup that, think about when you've gone to a website and you haven't completed the order, or even those apps with your Uber Eats order. 10 minutes later, you're getting a pop-up going, did you forget something? Because they're wanting you to come back. Don't do it. Don't open the app. Don't order with the $5. Don't order with the $8. Wait to see what they're going to do. They're always going to be upping their game to try to get you, right? They want you to come back. They're set up on a system, right? 1 day later, 3 days later, 5 days later, your actions trigger those notifications that you're getting. So when you actually do order something, here's what you don't do, okay? Now, I realize that yes, the bacon double cheeseburger or whatever you get, it's already, it's already got the cheese on it, it's got the bacon, whatever. But here's the thing. Bacon is so fucking expensive right now anyway. I was just looking at it the other day. The package at Walmart, I think, was like $8 for bacon. Fuck off, Walmart. Not buying it. So if you buy these, you already have, they're on sale, right? Cheese or bacon or the condiments that you would pay extra for, right? Because sometimes you're paying, sorry, not toppings, I guess. I was going to say is relish is the condiment. I'm thinking like pickles or onions, right? Because some of the places are charging for those now. The fast food restaurants, 30 cents for pickles. It's like, fuck off, I've got pickles in a jar at home. So you know what? So this is what you do. So let's say okay, I get a chicken burger. So I'll give my example. So I would be ordering the chicken burger. Now, if it does not come with bacon and cheese, I am not paying $2.75 for 2 little things of bacon. Not doing it. I will not pay $1 or $2 for 1 slice of processed, not real cheese. Look at this. I've just saved, with taxes and whatever, I've just saved $4 right there. And you know what? I enjoy gravy. I'm Canadian. We love our gravy. I am not going to pay, and I think it was KFC that we looked at one time. KFC is known for its gravy in Canada. I think it was like either $6 or $9 it was sort of a sizable gravy. You know what? I've got a package of gravy at home that I paid 69 cents for at the store. So I'm going to save, let's say it's a minimum of $3 for the gravy there. So look at this. You've just saved $7 by not getting bacon, cheese, or gravy with your combo. Secondly, if there's a fountain drink, no ice. And if they do put ice, complain. Put it in the review. Those fountain drinks, they're going to be charging you $2.89, upwards of $3 for mostly water, right? It's carbonated, it's whatever, it's, syrup. No ice. No ice. Make that very clear in the instructions. No ice. Or, here's the thing. If you already have something to drink at home, get that. Use that. And so what you do is now depending on how far the restaurant is, right? So typically if, in our neighborhood, in Winnipeg, in Canada, we don't have restaurants really close to us in the sense of down the street or just around the corner. We're in a very newer, like a residential area. We don't really have businesses. It's kind of, you sort of have to drive a little while to get to them. So anything that's being delivered is going to be taking at least, I'm trying to think of the closest restaurant. Let's say at least 10 minutes if it's, if and they're not stopping to deliver other people's things first, right? Because that's maddening as well. So when you get the notification that it's on the way, that's when you head to the kitchen. You start working on the bacon. You start slicing the cheese. If you have your own onions or pickles or whatever that they were going to charge you for, you start cutting those up. You have them on your cutting board so that the second your food arrives, you bring it right into the kitchen, unwrap the chicken burger, and now I've got my slices of pickles, I've got my cheese, my bacon, everything's ready, and then I'll go and now I enjoy it. I'll have the gravy in the pot on the stove as I'm slicing up these things, and as I just said, that saved me $10 right there. $3 on the bacon, at least, let's say $2 for the cheese. The gravy was, $3.49, $3.59, at, taxes on all that stuff. There you go. So that's an easy, $10 right there. 30 cents for, 2 little things of pickles that they're going to put on there. Not even a full pickle, right? It's just those little, like the round kind of sliced up pickles. They're going to charge you for that. We have a jar of pickles in the fridge. The entire jar cost me $3. I'll use those. So again, I have a lot of money, yes. But you know what? I'm not going to be taken advantage of. And that's something that consumers need to be aware of is, and I can already hear people going and saying, like, who the fuck cares then if you've got all this money? Just do it. Well, because as I said, I always want to see $50 as a lot of money. And so that is why. It's the principle behind it. It's the principle behind it. Because you're then telling the businesses that are gouging. I'm not the first person, by the way, to make these complaints about. Go onto YouTube or whatever. And again, like I said, we did a 4-week thing about rants about restaurants and the costs and everything. So you know what? If you don't order it and you don't do it, then maybe they will have to bring down the prices. Sure, they're probably going to go to things like layoffs or, reduced hours, or they'll start cutting things on the menu. But that's also just going to be hurting them. So, lower the prices. I mean, lots of businesses do that. I've seen actually, speaking of pickles and the jar of pickles, Walmart was charging, they've got a hot and spicy brand of pickles that used to be $2 each when you would buy 2 of them. So 2 of them for $4. Otherwise, they were like $2.30 something. Not too long ago, they were up to over $4 for this little jar. It's a little jar, not one of the big jars of pickles. It was up to $4 fucking dollars. Over $4. And so at that point, somewhere along the line, Walmart came to their senses and it's back down, or it was last time I looked at, I haven't looked recently, but the last time that I checked, it was back down to 2 something for one jar. So, you kind of look at that and go, hey, I don't care how they made that decision to bring it down. Maybe they're looking at that and going, hey, wait a second, we were moving a lot more of these when they were down to $2. Move it up to $4, they stopped going. I mean, a smart business is going to do something like that. We've done that with our products for our swimwear company. We look at it and go, okay, this one's not really moving, but it's interesting. When we drop it down, people will pay that price. Well, maybe that'll happen with a bunch of other ones. And so you play around with it. That's a smart business person. So yes, we can send a message to companies. And I'm not the first person to say this. You vote with your wallet, as they say. So I'm not going to order the bacon, cheese, da-da-da-da. I'll just order the regular one. Again, will a restaurant look and go, maybe we should lower the price of bacon, maybe we should lower the price of cheese? No, because they also know that people will pay that. But, I'm just saying, you're looking out for your own finances. You just saved $10. And you just saved however much by using your promo code and not paying $10 for the monthly fee. So, yeah. But my rule is I'm not using Uber Eats unless there's an actual promo code. And I'm sure that's the first thing that I do. I open it. I go to I don't have my phone in front of me, but whatever it is that takes me to the promotions tab, account, or whatever the button is that you press. And if it says you have no promotions, close. Truly. Yes, I'm a wealthy person, but absolutely no promotion? Nope. Not looking. Not even looking. Not even tempting myself. And you'll find that when you do things like that you'll end up, maybe I can just cut my own fries and, I can make fries at home tonight, or I'll just do some mashed potatoes, or I'll just do whatever. And there you go. Yeah, the longer you wait, right? That's when you have that second thought about something, that can save you money. It really can. One of the other things that I do is the reward system. Now, you hear this about parenting, really, is, you reward your kid for doing something, right? And you hear that about dog training too, which I, by the way, have never done that. I've never... you're a good dog and then you give them a treat. No. No, you're going to be a good dog and behave because I said that you're going to be a good dog and behave. You're not just going to be, it's not because you're getting food for that. No. You're just going because that's the way a dog conducts themselves, is that they behave around people and they, So, wouldn't I make a terrible parent or human parent? Like kids would, no. But anyway, so you hear that about kids, right? Is that, well, if you clean your room, you can get an allowance, or you clean your room, you can watch an extra hour of TV, or you clean your room and you can have $5. You clean your room, whatever. So here's what I do is I will make the, list of chores, whatever it is. Now, again, we're in a different situation because we have somebody that does our yard and we have somebody that cleans our house. But let's say I will, the inside of the oven is dirty. You need the oven cleaner or whatever. Well, here's my thing. I want that new, give me an item here. I want those new wireless headphones. Or even, let's just say, ordering food tonight. Okay, so I want to order food tonight. You know what, though? I don't get to do that until I clean the oven. There you go. That's my reward system. For myself. Yep, that's what I'll do. Oh, I still have to do laundry. Oh, shit. Okay, well, here's the thing. Once it's done, or I didn't fold the laundry. That's one thing that we absolutely both hate doing. Or, cleaning the bathtub, or, again, that's not something that we do. But you know what I'm saying. Right? Got to clean the inside of the oven. Well, if I don't do that, then I don't buy the headphones for myself, or I don't get the pizza. Because this is, it's something that I said actually about, I don't know if it was about New Year's resolutions or what I was talking about. But if you really want to do it, then you would do it. Right? Like everybody makes that New Year's resolution. Well, I'm going to work out. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do this. Why do you have to wait for the calendar to flip to January 1? If it's something in July or August or September, then you'd start doing it right then. It becomes a punishment then if you have a countdown clock, because that means that you don't want to do it. It's like when you were, in school and you were leaving the paper until the very last minute, right? You were writing it and there was that time crunch and there was that pressure because you didn't want to do it, right? If you were enjoying it and you liked it, you would have done it early on and you would have got it over with and, that's that. But when you leave it to the last minute like that, when you're putting it off and going, oh, January 1st, I'm going to start doing it. You don't want to do it. And what's the likelihood of success then? Very little. Very little. So that's the thing. If you want to, buy yourself something or order food or, treat yourself to whatever that's going to cost money, have the reward system because you're going to accomplish something. And then, all right. And truly, you'll end up finding that you'll save money that way because you just won't want to, I don't want to bother doing the oven. You probably should, right, at some point. But for that day, you just saved yourself $100 because you didn't order the headphones then. Try it. I'm just saying. These are things. So that's what my point about being a cheapskate and the guy saying, what's wrong with the economy? No, what I'm saying is that you have the money then to, buy the headphones, but you're just so you can buy more, right? Did you really need to spend $15 extra on that food order, or did you want to have that $15 for the headphones that are going to last hopefully longer than the meal that you ate? So you can have the best of both worlds. You can have the food stripped down with all the extra charges and have money for the headphones. So that's the essence of the book is creative ways to save and spend. There you go. Just one more thing on the food thing. Oh, how many times? The rewards point systems. Yes, we do have the app for you name the restaurant. We've got them. And my husband and I go for lunch quite a bit. So if we're going to this restaurant today, whatever, I've got the app and you collect the points for it. Use a fake name. I have never used a real name on any of them. I'm Dwayne on one of them. I'm Rob on one of them. I'm even Betty on one of them, which was hilarious because we got food delivered one time and it said, "Thank you, Betty." And I was laughing, thinking that we got somebody else's order. And it's like, no, that's the name that I picked. So it's not a data grab. They don't have my real, and that's another thing too. If you have the apps, they will sometimes give you something free on your birthday. So I will get these random things in April or September. My birthday's in August. So I'll get these, you have free dessert at Dairy Queen today. And I'm like, why? And it's saying happy birthday. And I thought, oh, that's right. Fake birthday. Here's the thing. Use a fake birthday in every single one of them. Because if they're all giving you a free lunch, they expire maybe in a couple days. This way, you can have a free lunch at Dairy Queen in March, and then a free dessert somewhere in April, and then a free entree here in May, and then a free whatever in June. Spread it out. Oh yeah, no, don't use your real birthdays. And there's nothing telling you that you have to give a legitimate birthday, really, right? I mean, fuck off. I'm not giving you all my personal data. Not a chance. So yeah, I'm probably 80 years old, right? You have to put your year of birth. I'm probably 80, I'm probably 65, I'm probably 19, Yeah, there's a good way to use the apps. You get the reward points, you get a free meal for your birthday, you collect the points, then your next one is a free, dessert or something, your free entree on the next one. And then also the back of your receipt. Get the paper receipt when they give it to you. Fill out the survey. Get a free McChicken or the free chicken drumstick after. And do all those things, really. And actually, there was a hack that I saw where people will go and buy the cheapest item. So a package of sauce for 25 cents or 30 cents. They get the receipt. They call in or they go to the website and fill out the survey, and now they get a free Whopper or a free McChicken or something. There you go. So they do the really, really cheap way of doing it is, okay, let me just buy a glass of water. Charge me the 5 cents for a glass of water, give me the receipt, and now I'll fill out the survey and I'll get a free burger. Brilliant. You're still making a purchase. Go for it. Why not? And sometimes you might have to buy, like a small fry or something, but it's like you're still getting a free burger. Why not? So those are some of my freebie tips. Aren't those good, right? It was just about being creative, just looking at things different ways. And so that's, to write a book about that. And people ask me, where did this come about? How did this sort of happen? Why would you do that? I said, because I bought my first house. And, what happens is you start to look at things differently. Absolutely. I had a full fridge. I had a TV, a cable plan with every single goddamn channel. Why did I have every sports channel? I don't watch sports. Why did I have every movie channel? I don't watch movies. But it's that novelty at the very beginning, right? Because it's my house. So all the cupboards were full. But you know what was happening to all the food in the fridge? It was going bad. I wasn't having the yogurt in time. I was buying all the bananas to make smoothies. Then the bananas were going bad. I was getting cheese, and the cheese was going bad because it was just me in the house. How much food did I need? I'm a very small person. I don't need a lot of food. And then you start to dial back. That's when you start to make cuts. So then you call up the cable company for when you had cable. Most people don't now, but that was something that I would just say, and I'm that customer who's calling in, and I'll say to them right away, I want less and I want to pay less. You probably have everybody calling in saying, I want this channel, this channel, this channel, I want a deal. No, I'm stripping it down. And if you try, oh, by the way, I've said this too. If you try to upsell me, I cancel immediately. I'm putting it right out there at the beginning. I'm not upgrading. I want less. I don't need all the channels. I don't need the fastest internet in the world. I don't need the 4,000 gigabytes of data on my phone. Believe it or not, I believe I have 1 gigabyte of data. No, that's not true. They fucked me over, and so they ended up, we went up the chain. We went to the executive office at the phone company. I have 10 gigs now. But for the longest time, I had 1 gigabyte of data. And I said to the gal on the phone, have I ever gone over that for however many years that I had it? And she said 1 month that you did. Because we were doing travel shows somewhere and they didn't have, Wi-Fi or whatever. So I was having to use my signal. So look at things like that. When it's your house, when it's, cut the costs then. The grocery bills come down. And the expenses, your utilities or whatever it is. It all, this is the thing is that it's little things, but it all adds up, right? When I first started saying to you, don't get the bacon, don't get the cheese, you were just kind of like, oh, what's that? But look at $10 though on a fast food order. That's still quite a bit, right? Yes, you had the delivery or the tip if you did, or the service fee or whatever it was. But again, if you use the promo code, that would take it out. But saving $10 on a fast food order is still pretty fucking good. Really is. So, like I said, $1 here. Oh, it's not worth it. Oh, no. Well, okay then. I mean, that's fine then. Then don't do it. Don't do it. Keep complaining. Keep bitching about how expensive restaurants are. Keep complaining. You're still going to order it anyway, so then whatever, right? I mean, and the restaurants know that. They know that people love bacon, people love cheese. You're going to get them because that's just, what you get. But, get it stripped down. If it doesn't come with it, right? If you can get just the regular chicken burger, then get it. I mean, it almost makes it sound like, you get a deal when you get the bacon and cheese on it. Well, no, you're still paying for it individually. Maybe it'll come down, 20 or 30 cents. But I mean, if you still have these things at home, and when you look at something like cheese or bacon, which, does eventually go bad, you already have them. So, why did you buy them then if you're not going to use them? So use them on a takeout order or on a delivery order, and your 69-cent package of gravy. And you got plenty of time. That's how you can kill some time as the food's being brought to you. And then it arrives, you whip it up, and then you eat it. It's simple things. That's the funny thing. It's not like I'm saying these are anything like revolutionary that nobody's ever thought of. But you probably haven't in a lot of situations. Try them and see. I was asked, quite a bit during interviews, like, well, how much do you think, your tips kind of save you in a year? And I said, I have no idea, because it's just, one of the other things that I believe I mentioned too is if I'm waiting in line at the store, like the dollar store or whatever, and there's a lineup either, for self-checkout or whatever, every minute I will put something back. Because you're giving me that time to stand there and rethink my purchases, right? You're making me rethink the items. Do I really need this? Do I really want to get that? And you're frustrating me. So now I'm going to punish the store and say, no, I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to take this. And look at that. Now my basket is missing, 3 or 4 things, and there's another $10 that I just saved. So when you look at things from a different angle, right? Looking at things like, I have these ingredients at home, I can use them from my fridge, or in the case of waiting in line and go, you know what? This is me telling myself, yeah, you know what? Let's put some things back. I mean, obviously, if your basket is like 2 things and they're things that you need, well, fine. But we've all at some point gone down an aisle of a store and seen something that we didn't need or didn't think of, but we grabbed it anyway. And as I just said, then you get home and you're like, why did I get this? Right? So this is your chance to look at what you've got. Or if it's at the grocery store and you've got a full cart and you're looking and going, oh my God, this is more than I planned. Well, if you're standing in line, think about it then. Put some things back. Now, let me be clear. If it's, frozen stuff or refrigerated things, give it to an employee so that they can put it back. I hate when I see, that's a dick move if you just go and throw the package of hamburger or whatever, on a shelf and let it get warm and then somebody's going to pick it up, put it there. Don't be an asshole. That's just really gross, and it's very dangerous too. So that I want to say that. But absolutely, I've done that too, where I'll just be scanning and I'll be like, don't want this one, hand it to the person. No, you know what, I don't need that, I'll hand it to the person. And that's a good way to lower your bill as well. And so we are very out of time now, just because this segment alone is 24 minutes. So I'm going to wrap this up now, okay? I didn't get to my filler topics, but that's fine. We'll use them another time. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. First of all, is there a creative way that you save money? Do you have any little, tricks and tips and things? Because I love discussing that kind of a thing with people. My email address, live, L-I-V-E, at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com. And then secondly, what is the funniest thing that you've done when you were out for lunch or something with a friend at a restaurant? So my glass theft thing. But have you ever had an instance like where you're kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, and you still laugh about it years later? Send me an email, tell me about it. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Thank you for tuning in. Same time, same place next week. It's a date. Bye for now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com. Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.